Sharing our stories connects us. Listen and be connected. Join us for the conversation meeting weekly at the intersection of community and culture. Hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. Hey everybody, welcome to this, your Wednesday edition. It's Wednesday noon. It's WMNF 88.5 FM, WMNF.org. From anywhere in the world you may happen to be. Of course, you've got to make the adjustment for the time zone change. As always, we are The Conversation. I am Mario Nunez, seated alongside my broadcast partner,
Joe King Carter.
Joe is in the house, and today...
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you as well, sir.
Absolutely, brother.
How was your week off?
Did I have a week off?
No, I mean, how was the week off in between these shows?
No, it was,
nobody has a week off anymore, Joey.
The week was it was a good week.
Eventful,
considering for me personally, not terribly eventful, but for the world, life is getting chaotic and interesting, isn't it?
We would be interesting is the modest way to put it.
You know what Cat Stevens said? Oh, baby, it's a wild world.
Oh, Joey, you're going to sing for us now?
Yeah.
But it is good, though. Cat Stevens had his day.
That's right.
But and you know what? We also had our day last week, Joe, and we would be remiss right now if we didn't acknowledge some of the people that came through for us. You know, we're just on the other side of fundraising here at WMNF. We do it 3 times a year, and wonderfully, we met our goal last week during the show, which was astonishing, really and truthfully. It's a credit to the fact that we're still resonating with our listeners, Joe.
Yes.
Our listeners, they never fail us with their generosity. I'm going to go and I'm going to read a list real quick of the people that donated. And they donated in great part because of your generosity, Joe. You set up a special Ybor City tour that I think resonated with our listeners.
I think so. Okay. And maybe we will do it again sometime.
I think we will. Do we have any slots left? Is this a good time to mention that?
At this moment, I don't know. But I think we might have a few. If someone, I tell you what, if somebody wants to donate $50 and come on in, we'll fit you in there.
There you go. So let me just go ahead and mention these names real quickly. Christopher, Phil, Mary, Gloria, Joe, Missy, Eileen, Mario, Sherry, Richard, Catherine, Risa, Jeff, Douglas, Celine, Tom, Tina, Suzanne, Richard, and David. Thank you all so very, very much for your kindness, for your generosity. It lets us know they still like us, Joey.
Oh, absolutely.
And we get to play in the sandbox another season.
Yeah, you know, folks, for you out there, if you think there's something very magical going on here, it's not. It's a couple of volunteers that come into a studio and put on some headphones and do a show. And we get maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 calls on a show that's particularly inspiring. The most inspiring shows, I think people are listening and not calling.
That's true.
And so therefore, what happens is we can't have a 1-hour show with 50 people calling us. So we don't really know who you are out there sometimes. We don't know who's listening exactly. We don't know what that's all about. And when you give money at this people-powered community station, it so warms our hearts, folks. And I mean that very sincerely. And I want to thank all of you personally for donating and giving and helping with us. Thank you.
Well done, Joey. Well done. We've got a special show for you today. And, you know, I don't say that too often. I say it every week, Joey. But today I mean it. Today I mean it.
Yes.
Today we have somebody in the studio with us that you may have heard of. Those, I think, that are in the long-time radio business. Randy Zimmerman comes to mind.
Yeah.
Will tell you that they know exactly who this gentleman is.
Yes.
And if you don't know the name Rick Randall, you're going to be introduced to him in just a moment or two. Joe, how lucky are we to have this cat with us today?
Absolutely. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Yes. So, for those of you out there listening, you may know of Rick Randall on air. You may know of Rick Crandall.
Yes.
We have Rick with us here today. Welcome, Rick.
Well, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure.
How's that voice sounding in your ear hole right about now?
He came right across.
Yes,
there.
he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
So we're going to get to Rick's history in radio and what he's done and what he's currently doing and what he's going to continue to do in the future. But let's start off with this. We like for our audience to get to know our guests a little bit at a personal level. Where did you grow up, Rick?
in St. Louis, Missouri. We moved here, however, to St. Pete when I was still in elementary school, and I was 9 years old. But we didn't survive very well. Went back to St. Louis again until I was in high school. Then the family came down here for a second time, so I was able to graduate from high school in St. Pete.
I see.
Did you think at that time that just all the cities were named for saints? St. Louis, St. Pete.
Kinda
I was just
seems that
thinking,
way
you know,
sometimes.
as a 9-year-old, that might be something you think about.
I'd have wondered about that from time to time. Yeah.
So you got back here, and what was your? Give us a little bit about your family orbit. What was you have siblings, and what was happening there?
I have a son who lives in Largo, a daughter who is up in Virginia. Otherwise, I got a couple of ex-wives out there as well.
I see.
Were you an only child, Rick? Did you have
just a
brothers or
couple.
sisters?
Pardon me?
Were you an only child? Did you have brothers or sisters?
Oh, no, a brother and a sister.
There you go.
Thank you.
And so what kind of talk a little bit about young Rick? What kind of kid were you in school?
Rambunctious,
growing up?
capricious, rascally rabbit.
That's a pretty obscure question there. What young Rick was all about?
Sure.
Yeah.
Riding his bike. Did he play sports? What did he do?
No sports for me.
Okay.
I like baseball.
There you go.
Growing up in St. Louis, you got to be a
Cardinal fan.
Absolutely. My dad used to take me to the ballpark, so I did get
You're about the right age for the end of the fabulous Stan Musial's career, or right about the middle of Stan
I
Musial.
remember Stan
Stan the
Musial.
Man.
Of course.
So you're going up through high school. You're being this kid that is not deeply into sports. So what were you into? Was there one thing you were into?
Oh, well, I did, after high school, I did attend the charter class at the University of South Florida up in Temple Terrace. Mm-hmm. But then I dropped out and went in the military instead.
I see. And what branch of the military?
I was in the Air Force.
Air Force man. There we
you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what did we do in the Air Force?
I was a radar technician, served in Montana, North Dakota, and Northern Ontario.
Mercy.
They send all the Florida boys up there.
Mercy. I
up
was just
there.
thinking the same thing.
So, and this is now it begs the question. This is your first rubbing up against kind of technology and that kind of thing.
Of course. And it gave me kind of a technical inclination to some extent. Mm-hmm. In fact, I still have to do that with my little radio station that I've got set up now.
Your little home station, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing that in the Air Force, and then we leave the. What do you do when you leave the military?
You get discharged
graduate?
honorably.
Honorably
You get discharged. Yeah.
Well, but let's back up a little bit.
All
About
right.
6 months before my discharge, I was in Montana. Mm-hmm. There was one of the guys that I was serving with there who was doing a radio show in town.
Ah.
And then he got discharged. Mm-hmm. And I got to thinking, well, if he's not there anymore, maybe I could worm my way in there somehow. And that's how it got started. I did work in town on the radio station for the last 6 months of my military hitch. Then I got a full-time job down the road in Great Falls, Montana,
There
the
you
big
go.
city up
Big
there.
city, big city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there for a year before I got a phone call to, you probably going to ask me about serving on a ship off the coast of England.
Well, yeah.
That's coming up next. I'm just thinking, was
Yeah.
Wolfman Jack somewhere in your headphones when you were a kid growing up, and you know, where did this voice come from? For crying out loud!
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't know. It's just there.
Well, listen, for those of you that are watching the show,
I don't know. It's just there.
for those of you that are watching us on Facebook Live, there's a fourth person in our studio today, and I would be remiss because he's here, and I want to acknowledge him. He's a dear friend to Mr. Randall's, and his name is Mike Baluha, and you've heard him before. Mikey, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, and you're in for a real treat today in learning a little bit about this particular gentleman.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's
You're
great.
too kind.
That's great. So, and Mike is close friends with Mario. And,
Yeah, this is a love
I know-
fest here today.
Yeah, this is a little a family gathering. So, all right. Well, that first gig you did, working while you were still in the Air Force at that little radio station. What did you do there? Were you just like playing discs,
Spinning 45s.
DJ.
DJing? Yeah.
Needle on the record.
Pardon?
Needle on the record, right? Spinning the
Absolutely.
45. Yeah,
Oh.
old school.
Absolutely.
Early days.
Yeah.
I still dream about that sometimes, trying to get the needle in the
Just right, in the
groove.
Let's put it in perspective. What was the hit at that time?
Yeah, good question.
Well, somebody asked me about that recently, about Petula Clark's Downtown that we played back in 1965.
Wow.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely,
That's right.
you can always go
Downtown.
downtown. Okay, sorry,
yeah.
sorry. Just
Yes.
had to.
Of course, the Beatles were just getting started. We were still playing Elvis Presley.
100%, 60s.
You know, and a mix of older material like Frank Sinatra still, and
Might be a Perry Como in there.
absolutely played him a lot of times.
Yeah,
Nat King Cole.
yeah. So that you're really sort of developing your bones a little bit during that
Yeah,
experience,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get out and you get this full-time gig in, again, where?
Great Falls.
Great Falls.
KUDI.
I was just going to ask you if you remember the call letters, and of course he does.
Of course.
And what kind of market is KUDI, may I ask?
Well, there were 4 stations in town, so we were a top 40, which was very cool. That was really all I was interested in at the time.
Right.
And what kind of market is it? I couldn't answer that. Great Falls is like any town, about 50,000
WLCY.
people.
Okay.
What we had here in Tampa, WLCY 1380.
I was at WLCY.
I bet you were.
Yeah. That was my first station in this market. So I've been on radio in Tampa Bay for most of my life, off and on. Different names, by the way.
Sometimes he flies with a moniker.
So can we ask that question? Because I think Rick is uniquely qualified to answer that. And we know because one of our dear brothers departed, Ted Webb, who everybody knows his birth name was Henry Ruiz.
Of course.
Is there a reason why jocks might change their name? Some don't, but is there a reason why most might?
Well, the initial reason, I found Rick Crandall a little awkward when I was first starting out.
To articulate to...
So when I moved down to Great Falls, I just decided to drop the C on my last name. It was just a simple alliteration thing.
Absolutely.
But there is another story about changing my name. In Clearwater, I went to work at WTAN, and there was another gentleman there who was already using my name, Dennis Crandall. That wasn't his name, but he was on the air. He had been at WDAE under that name, and he was in Clearwater. So I just had to change. I didn't want to have 2 Crandalls or a Randall Crandall or anything, so I just dropped my last name altogether.
Just went by Rick.
I went by Richard Bruce.
Oh,
Richard Bruce.
Rick
wow.
Bruce and
Rick
Richard Bruce. Yeah.
Richard Bruce.
I was in the news department. I was Richard, but when I'm playing music, I'm Rick.
And this was in the 60s, late 60s, 70s, maybe?
Oh,
early
let's see.
70s?
TAN was more like late 70s, I think.
Late 70s, okay. Okay.
So it's Rick Bruce on air.
That's true. That name still resonates a little bit.
Yeah, okay. And we're at Great Falls. That's all happening. And you're, speaking of developing bones, you're getting used to probably all these things that have to do. We hear about the way that music used to be promoted and the way that agents would come in and they're pushing records, all that hype is happening, right?
I got a story about that, too.
Okay,
Yes.
please.
You want to share it?
Please.
Well, local
you
artists, over the years, local artists would come into the radio station with their record or their tape or whatever, and they'd ask us to play their song. And we never did. And after a few years, that began to bother me. And I used to think, well, radio should be serving the local community. And I wanted to do something about that. And then when the internet opened up, I found a chance to create a music stream and to feature local artists exclusively. So that's what I'm doing now.
And that's a
Which
big
is-
jump forward, but that's an amazing thing you're doing because you bring to, my opinion is you bring to local music all of this experience that you've had.
50 years, 60 years of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's roughly correct. Yeah.
In supporting and promoting and helping talent to navigate where they need. And the technology too has changed completely.
Yeah.
So you're able to do things in a digital world.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any turntables or tape decks or anything like
Exactly.
that anymore.
It's not cumbersome. You can do it all in a bathroom if you had to. Well, I don't mean in your bathroom, but I mean in a bathroom. And listen, we buried
Rick,
the lead.
you're not doing your show in a bathroom, are you?
But the acoustics are fabulous. Can you imagine his voice in the shower?
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I will say this, Rick, that you mentioned, and we don't want to bury the lead. Mikey, did you have something to offer?
I just wanted to add,
Please.
just for the sake of what he's done as a local artist, I can tell you right now, he's given me in my lifetime validity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I first heard about the station, I sent my material to him. The fact that he accepted it was a plus. The fact that he played it, the fact that it became a #1 hit on the station on the internet, it was for a long time. And that helped me to gain confidence. I ended up going to promoting that song, and I was on the third BAMO album that came out locally with all the local musicians and stuff. People like Ronnie Elliott, Have Gun Will Travel. So I think I speak for most of the independent artists. The platform that he gave us, we have to be very grateful for.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Absolutely. And
Well said, Mike.
Yeah, it was so well said. And the other thing is that we have an extreme alignment here between WMNF, who supports local artists.
Absolutely.
We have in studio shows in which we our Friday show, I believe, is it's
Local artists?
I'm not grabbing the title of the show. But at any rate,
My first appearance was on WMNF in 1983.
Wow,
with
really?
Cam Hendricks, I think, was doing a live show.
old.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Mikey?
He's
Rick
old.
said, "Man, you're old." Experienced.
So my
Experience.
point simply is that this station certainly is a big supporter of local music. It's what we do a lot of, and so we're very much in the same philosophical boat with you on this, no doubt about it.
You
and
could
I can
do-
tell that it's a passion for you.
You could do a little bit more if you
Yeah.
Calling you out, baby. Calling you out.
Well, we're having you here today. I think it's a good head start. We're in the blocks. We got our shoes on. We're ready to run. And this is like the little show that could, Rick. We've kind of been developing our own style and developing our own voice. I think it's we alluded to it at the top of the show. Our donors are letting us know that they appreciate what we do. And when we get a chance to interview somebody like yourself, and I know people like yourself and humble to a fault, there's a lot there, Rick. There's a lot there. And we're about to dive into the heavy stuff now, which is your experience. We buried the lead a bit when you mentioned pirate radio. Tell everybody, because most of us, or some of us, have seen the movie, and we kind of have a sense of what that was. Brother, you lived that.
I did.
You lived that. So
I
please,
did.
please.
When I was in Montana, the station was running into some financial problems, and they told me if I wanted to look around for another job, go for it. So I stuck an ad in Broadcasting Magazine at the time, and before I knew it, I had a phone call. A gentleman in Miami said, we're putting together a radio station that will be on the air in London, England, and that part of the world. Would you be interested in coming over? And absolutely,
Well, you told him it wasn't Great Falls. Yes, I'm happy to.
Yeah, so off to Miami I went, and there was the ship in the harbor.
Wow.
And he was still putting it together. The transmitter and the studios were in separate cubicles that could be lifted up and dropped down into the cargo area of a converted freighter, and put an antenna up on the deck and a generator, a couple of generators, and off we went.
Major seagoing vessel. This wasn't like a little small boat. This was a
This was a freighter, about
Yes.
a 200-foot
attaboy.
converted banana boat, as I understand.
with quarters, with living quarters, and everything needed to be able to live offshore.
That we did.
And do your work.
We found we didn't have enough living quarters after we got to England, so we had to do some modifying there. I did sail across the Atlantic on the ship.
Oh my gosh.
We had a problem the first night out. We hit some really rough water, and the antenna came crashing down to the deck.
On the deck.
I can still remember what that sounded like. And so we went to Lisbon, Portugal for a couple of weeks to
Repairs?
put the new antenna back up again, and finally made it our way to the North Sea, the English Channel. And it took us a while to get everything going, but we did.
How old a young man were you at the time? And I say that because if you're, let's say, in your 20s, which I'm assuming you might be in your late 20s, this must have been just terribly exciting, Rick. This must have been
of course
incredible.
It was. An adventure.
What a rush. Yeah, what a rush.
Sure. Get a chance to go to England and somebody paid me for it. That was pretty cool. And be on the radio
And
as
the
well.
year, and the year again, the year?
Well, it was 1966, so that makes me about 24 years old.
Mercy. 1966, the Beatles are in full swing.
Oh, yeah.
People are starting to grow their hair long. The Vietnam War is
Yeah.
just starting.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you're a 26-year-old guy?
Yeah.
You got the world by the tail, Rick.
24.
You got the world by the tail right
you're
about then.
I did. So
Too cool for school. there, yeah.
100%. Let's ring a bell for that.
Well, basically because of that, one of the guys that I was working with, we were really the only American crew in England at the time. We were bringing American radio to the British audience, which it wasn't always that great when we were not terribly successful
Initially,
But,
right?
Pardon?
Initially,
in
right,
England,
in the
yeah.
beginning.
But when I came back to the United States, that was sort of propelled me. One of my friends, as I mentioned, he had been at WLCY before. He was one of the various Jackie Rabbits who had been on that station, and he helped me to get positioned here in the Bay Area at Elsie. So I spent a year there and kind of moved on from there.
Let's before we jump over it too much, let's talk a little bit about that pirate radio thing, because I'm not sure everybody out there understands what
The concept was.
What the concept was and what was happening.
why it was pirate radio.
You and your cohorts. Thank you. I'm having a problem.
No worries. I got you.
You get to the coastline, but you are there intentionally to broadcast radio that is offshore.
Yeah.
That is. Why is it called pirate radio?
Well, that's what the British press started calling us because we were invading their country, whether that was...
From the sea. From the sea, and doing something nefarious that wasn't necessarily approved of.
and they claimed that we weren't paying royalties or any... So that was...
plundering.
we were plundering.
We were pirates.
Invading and... Yeah, right.
Did you fly a Jolly Roger? Come on, tell me you flew the Jolly Roger.
No, we it wasn't. We weren't playing that role out in our mind. That sort of came along afterwards.
Right. So legally speaking, if you were in waters offshore, that's what allowed you to do this, correct?
Yes. So the BBC had a monopoly at the time, and they didn't play much radio or music at the time. So before we got there, several other entrepreneurs put radio stations on ships, like Radio Caroline, Radio London, various others that were operating and putting music on 24 hours a day.
You gave them the idea? They gave you guys
they gave... Well, the gentleman I was working for had been a part of one of the previous pirates as well.
Got you.
So he was from Texas, and he decided he wanted to do it differently, so he came back to the U.S., got the new ship, and that's where I came along, and off we went.
So this is kind of a forbidden activity a little bit. I mean, was it kind of exciting for you for that reason?
It just was. I didn't think that much about it at the time.
It was an opportunity.
It was just a radio station on a big boat.
On a boat.
Yeah.
But the BBC having a monopoly there, we were in international waters to try to circumvent the fact that there was no licensing procedure in England.
No control.
However, the fact that we were there, and I've always felt because the Americans showed up, that's when the Parliament got busy and decided they got to do something. They finally outlawed what we were doing. We couldn't go ashore. We couldn't get our mail, couldn't get food or fuel on the ship. We couldn't have an office in London selling advertising. We couldn't do anything. And they eventually shut us down the following year, 1967. All the pirates, except for one, and then later...
They starved you out.
They started continuing the offshore radio thing, and they're still doing it now.
Really?
I know. I still boggles my mind, but they do it legally
This
now.
is 60 years later, Rick.
Yeah, but there are always a group of guys, mostly older guys, who remember the pirate days, and they want to be a part of it, and so they climb on a little tender like we used to do, and go out to the ship and spend their weekends out there playing DJ on a
And
offshore.
recreate some of the magic from the early years. I guess that makes them feel young, too.
I guess so.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I'm fascinated by that whole.
You know, some people go out and do Civil War reenacting. I think this is better. I think the pirate ship reenacting is better. Just saying.
So now let me see if I got that clearly. In a sense, what you and your cohorts were all doing was having a positive impact on the British government in terms of radio and licensing.
Yes, because after we left and after they shut us down, then they
Things started to
created their
change.
own commercial broadcast system.
There you go.
Similar to what we have in the U.S. So we
FCC.
in effect changed history, broadcast history in England. I had no idea.
Well done, sir. Well done. You're in the books.
You know, after I left, it was in the 60s. We didn't have the internet, and transcontinental phone calls were
Just coming
very,
on.
very
Yeah,
pricey.
just coming on.
I didn't know anything about what happened until somewhere around the 90s when the internet opened up and I began reestablishing contact with some of the people I worked with in England. And then I learned that it was still going on. I just couldn't believe it.
So,
Wow.
so when the movie
Wow.
finally made its debut, did the producers, the executive producers, come and ask you for your opinion? I mean, did they want you to contribute in
no.
any way?
No,
Were
this-
you there on opening night? Did you walk a
movie-
red carpet?
The movie was originally produced in England.
Yes.
It was The Boat That Rocked.
Uh-huh.
And then somebody edited it down and brought it over here and called it Pirate Radio.
Okay.
It really, the movie's kind of silly. You know, a couple of DJs climbing up a tower to show off their masculinity or something.
Girls, you know,
It's
there's always
impossible.
girls involved.
And girls, we never had girls on our ship that I remember, except for visitors would come
Right.
out and
But no girls were swimming out to the boat to be with you
No.
guys because you guys were just too sexy.
Well, they would sometimes come out in their little boats from the shore, and they would just circle our ship and
Just to
wave.
wave at you? Sure.
They might get a little flirting every now and then.
Oh, so you didn't throw many beans.
Wait a minute. Why do I suspect there's more to this story?
Well, they didn't come on board the ship. And then,
All right, Rick, whatever you say.
Statute of limitations, Rick, have expired. If you care to share anything today, break any news. But what was your favorite music at the time, Rick? Is that a fair question?
Well, sure. We were playing all of the big hits of the time, but we and I didn't learn this until recently. One of my British compatriots wrote a book and explained that our ship brought more American rock music to their scene than the other pirates were doing. So we were giving them a little taste of what we were playing here in the United States.
So some of those influences that they might cite might have come from you. I mean, people like Paul
Or your
McCartney
team.
today.
Or your team.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So how about this one? While the British invasion was happening.
Nice.
Yeah.
You had
were
your own American
you were
invasion.
invading Britain.
We were invading England when the Beatles were invading the U.S.
Fascinating.
That is, it's, when you just say it like that, you're thinking about
Yeah,
it that
yeah.
way. Of course, the invasion coming this way was a little bit heavier and
Oh, yeah, sure.
and it had much more media.
It
right?
overwhelmed us, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the undercurrent was that little boat off the shore.
Yeah.
The little boat that could, as it were. That
And
was
we
doing what it
we
could.
did change history over there
You
as
did.
a result.
You
of that.
did.
So, yeah.
In a
Well,
very subtle way.
you
But
know,
a big way at the end of the day.
Bravo.
right?
That's what I got to say.
Well
Bravo.
done, Rick. Well done.
So has there been ever, and you have this long career that we can go more into, but did you ever do any pirate radio after that? Was that your only pirate radio moment? Because there are little pirate stations that have occurred in the United States.
No, I never was involved in that over here.
You were in the credible, accepted radio.
Licensed.
License radio. Yeah,
radio,
license
yeah.
and there you
Yeah,
go.
because I know that we've had a couple of times little pirate stations that have popped up in Ybor City. Do you know this?
Sure, yeah. Well, you've got 50 watts, and you
Yeah.
got a 2-mile radius.
Yeah,
and you can
yeah.
well, we can do that now on the internet as well, and podcasts are everywhere.
Right.
Did you when you started your professional career, were you ever an admin, or were you always in administration in the radio station, or were you always on a mic? Were you always spinning records?
I evolved into administration late in my career,
Right.
Primarily about the time I was with Paxton Broadcasting, and we had 102.5. It was called The Point.
Weight? Oh, The
at
Point.
the time.
Okay.
And I moved into, I had some computer experience, and I began working as a sales assistant there and supporting the sales staff. I was never a salesperson per se. And then I was moved into television from there. Paxton sold off the radio properties and began developing what is now the Ion Network.
Yeah, Ion, sure.
It all operates out of an old church in Largo or Clearwater, somewhere in there in between.
It's on a lot at our house. I tell you what, they got
Sure.
they got some pretty good programming going on, local The other thing I was going to ask you too, Rick, have you ever done any professional voiceover work? I mean, come on now.
Well,
what are you
I've
doing with that voice if you're not selling something?
Well, every station I've been at has
You've done ads, promo
had
ads.
me, sure, producing commercials for various whatever. I never was out in the voiceover market per se.
Right.
I didn't go to agencies and farm my voice out.
Well, I'm just going to say it right now. I may be breaking news here, but I think you could have given the Allied Discount Tires guy a run for his money. I'm just going to say it right now.
I remember Brown's Furniture. That was doing spots for them for a long time.
The things
there.
that we remember, Rick, that get stuck in our heads when we're kids and we listen to the, whatever that is.
Sometimes because they were annoying.
Allied Tires.
Well, remember that?
The National Auto Supermarket.
Yeah, 1711 East
absolutely.
Hillsborough Avenue.
I've done 1,000 of those.
That's what I was getting
Yeah.
at.
So, are we going to do a bottom of the hour?
We should. We flew right past it, but we ought to do a little station ID, and then we'll tell everybody who they're listening to when we come back. Are you ready on that side of the board? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Ella Hill, and you're listening to The Conversation with Mario Nunes and Joe King Carter on WMNF 88.5 in Tampa.
As happens too often.
Ella
That was
Hill.
Ella. As happens too often on the show. We get so enthralled with our guests, and the hour starts.
of course,
the
I
hour
get it.
starts to evaporate on us. Look, we got about 20 minutes left in show. You're listening to WMNF. This is The Conversation, and today we're talking with radio legend. He's not comfortable with the title, but that's too bad because it's our show and we're going to say it.
Yeah.
Rick Randall, everybody.
Yeah. And if you're out there listening and you'd like to call in, the number is
813-239-9663 if you've got a question or a comment or you just like to say hi.
So I know you have this long career, but when you got back from pirate radio, what was that like? I mean, how did you reintroduce yourself into the market or into the business? And did that whole pirate thing have an impact on you when you got back?
Not really. In fact, most people had never heard of the pirate radio on this side of the Atlantic at the time. And I did, as I mentioned, work at WLCY for a year, and then I went off. For a long time, I was kind of restless, and I moved around the country a lot. I was in radio in Boston, in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Colorado. I mentioned Montana earlier, California. And a half a dozen or so radio stations here in the Tampa Bay area.
Favorite area of the
Florida.
country with that kind of movement? Do you have a real good memory of like a part of the kind of region that you really enjoy?
I always want to come back here to Tampa Bay.
There you go.
Right.
Well said.
It's home, right?
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah. And in all of those places, you were involving yourself in terms of your talents and skills in the same way. On-air talent, you were doing programming, all of that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this thing about local independent music in the background was always there.
Yeah, that started up, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 years ago or so. I think it was at WTAN in Clearwater I began to think about maybe if I ever get a chance to do something about local artists, I will.
Help some folks out.
Yeah. And then, as I mentioned, I think when the internet opened up and I could create a music stream and the government wasn't involved, I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
You went buck wild crazy. When did you meet the guy sitting next to you? When did that relationship
just about
start?
the time the stream has been online for more than 20 years now, and Mike has been there I think from day one.
That's amazing. Can you tell everybody how they can find that stream? I mean, where do they find that stream, Mike? Online? Where can they go to get it? Is there a website?
Yeah, it's musictampabay.com. Is that correct, Rick?
That's right.
Yeah, and just go on there and then explore the website. You'll see the listen to prompt, and you'll click on, and you'll start hearing, some
Are
of
there
their-
all forms of music there? All genres
all
of music?
all forms of music.
All genres.
and-
From reggae to country to bluegrass to jazz to
Absolutely.
everything.
As long as it's local and original, that's all.
That's the key.
So it's musictampabay.com if you're out there listening.
Yep.
Yeah. So the internet, obviously, I'm going to guess that for you, it's been a wonderful.
Oh, sure.
advance.
What an advantage.
It's a part of my
But
life.
what a change in your world from the technology that you started out with and what's happening today. I mean,
Well, like
address
I said,
that a little bit.
no more turntables and tape decks. It's all
Right.
MP3 files, mostly computer files.
Uh-huh.
And I just build a playlist, and I just keep it going. Add new tracks all the time. Sometimes take some stuff out, move it around, and it's a 24-hour a day.
Still having
operation.
fun with it, are we, Rick?
Absolutely, I love it.
in different ways too, because like around Christmas time, he'll feature all Christmas music.
Yep.
So and it's a beautiful thing.
That's a good man right there.
24/7, you'll hear
That's a good man.
everybody's Christmas cuts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
And are you doing this all by your little only?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. So
I
how
did-
does that work if you're doing? I mean,
The coffee's always on, Rick. Is that what you're
inform
saying?
inform the
coffee.
uninformed?
Yes.
How does that work when
Well,
you're?
I have
when you're sleeping?
software playlist that keeps it going 24 hours a day, and then I could just intervene whenever I need to and put new stuff in and so forth.
Without a staff person helping you?
No, that's
Would
it.
you have the opportunity if the stream is constantly going and you have the proper software to maintain that? Do you have the ability to hit that button right there and say, "Hi, I'm Rick Randall, and you're listening to and welcome and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays"?
I do that twice a week. I do live shows from my home studio.
There you
now.
go.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
And what is the content of those shows?
Thank you.
It's I spend a lot of time figuring out what artists are appearing where and when, and then I build a playlist around that, and then I mention online where they're performing and what time and what days and so forth. Like a show on Friday night, I'll headline everything for the weekend. And then on Sunday nights, I kind of take a quick look at what's coming up in the following week. And I basically would just want to say something about where the artists are appearing. And
Aside from the gentleman seated to your right, is there another artist that you kind of have always fancied and said, this cat is really, or gal, I should say, is really
yeah.
special, and you really enjoy working with them?
I am very impressed with how many artists actually are performing every week, 2, 3 times, 4 times a week, maybe.
Doing live shows around the area?
Doing live shows around the Tampa Bay area. Sometimes they do go out on the road from time to time. Specifically, I think Steve Harvey is worth a mention. He's a real pro, and he's working the area all the time. I'm kind of fond of the girls. Got Fiona French. She is my favorite now.
I see a
think.
lot of your posts featuring her.
Nice.
You
Very
see-
nice.
Yeah, well, she's
very good.
amazing.
Very good, yes.
Fiona getting a shout out today.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, sure.
Should be.
So I'm going to say this real quick, Joey. You started this adventure in the 1960s.
Yep.
And you're still hard at it 60 plus years later.
yeah, and
when I say hard at it, I just mean you're still at it. You know what I mean? It's not like you're stressing or you're working overtime to get it done, but you are still in the game, and you're giving people that heretofore might not have a platform. Also, let me share with you that Tampa is known for a couple of things, I think. Besides the Chamber of Commerce stuff, the weather and so forth, and our pirate adventures, in around Gasparilla. I think sports has always been something, baseball in particular, that we hang a star on.
Sure.
But the music scene here has always been vibrant, man. Even in those early years, the late 50s and 60s with the Arena Brothers, and on and on and on. Rodney Justo, we mentioned earlier before we went on the air.
One of the 60s acts, he provided a platform for him, a gentleman, a friend of mine by the name of James Marvell.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where he was with a band called Mercy, who had the distinguished accolade of being on the top 10 list with the Beatles, Frank Sinatra, and Elvis Presley at one time.
And the song was?
Love Can Make You Happy.
Everybody
It's a
remembers that
beautiful
song?
And he met with me. We produced a song called Tampa, the Perfect City for Me.
Yes.
Because he had heard of my Tampa.
I remember Tampa.
And anyway, that was probably the longest number one hit on Rick's station in the time that I've known him.
Rest in peace.
I mean, he was there all the time.
Rest in peace, James. We
Yeah.
lost him recently. But so kudos to you, Mr. Randall, for your generosity and for still offering it out, man. I mean, you're still doing it.
Well, the only difference now is I don't get paid.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a labor
Should we
of
pass
love.
the hat for you, Rick?
Well, so there you go. We talk about people power at WMNF.
Yeah.
Well, here's Rick Crandall, and he's people powered, a people of one.
The living embodiment.
Yeah, that's
We'd
pretty
like-
amazing. Really.
We'd like to say something about a little radio station in St. Pete that I'm currently involved in. Too.
Please.
Absolutely.
96.7 Radio St. Pete.
Respect.
And I put the station on the air. I got the original license from the FCC.
What year was that?
That was about, what year exactly? I'm
Maybe
not-
10 years ago, something.
It was about 10 years
About 10 years ago. Okay. Just to give people a reference.
and
I remember.
I
when
had to
they
buy
were
the
there.
transmitter and the antenna and then find a place to put all of that stuff.
Wow.
And finally got a studio in downtown St. Pete and operated as Music Tampa Bay for about 4 years until Joe Bordeaux came on. Well, actually, he was on my board of directors, too, for right from the start. And he was interested in running the station. So I was beginning to find that it was really too much work. And I'd like to bring up a little story about how we got the license.
Absolutely.
At the time, I've had a lifelong bout with asthma, and every now and then I have a severe episode. And just as I was preparing the license application for the FCC, I got sick. And I thought, well, I don't think I don't think I'm going to get this license done, because the FCC gives you only 2 weeks to get all that stuff in. But amazingly enough, we had a government shutdown.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Do we know something about that today, Rick?
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. We're doing that
History
again.
repeating itself.
But
It bought you the time.
That bought me some time. The FCC, when the government resumed, they extended the license application period just enough to let me get it in.
You threaded the needle.
So the station would not have existed had it not been for the government shutdown, really.
And
Interesting.
stations like ours here, WMNF, certainly stations like the station you founded in St. Petersburg are so necessary. They're so necessary to keep a community threaded together, And if,
I love what Joe is doing with it now.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, good. There's a
Excellent.
shout out.
Excellent.
There's a shout out to you out there, Joe Bordeaux.
Bordeaux, yes.
Joe Bordeaux.
Yeah, we have a couple of names out there too. I think Franco does a show on there too. I believe so. And Charlie Souza, is that?
Charlie Souza.
Yeah,
Charlie
Souza.
Souza.
Yeah,
Right.
Charlie Souza.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You were talking about so your point of view there is that a government shutdown could have some positive.
It did in that situation.
case.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, earlier I gotta say this because it's just that I want to say it. You touched on local artists. My personal feeling is that the Tampa Bay area is just rich with local music and music that comes through too. I mean, it's just amazing. But you mentioned Have Gun Will Travel down from Bradenton.
You know, they're going to be at the Clearwater Jazz Festival this coming weekend.
Yes, I knew that. And let me just say about that for a little insight I can give everybody who's listening. I grew up in Bradenton. And the first time I heard this band, I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of interesting. Because he's talking about the old water tower and he's, all these great things. And I can tell you that band they have several songs. They have many and amazing pieces, but they have several songs that refer directly to Bradenton. And nobody could have ever captured that feeling of what it's like to live down there and what it was like when I was growing up. And by the way, I'm from obviously a completely different generation than that band, yet they still captured the feeling of that town. I think that's amazing, personally.
Well, that's what music does.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, they
That's
have a
right.
great sound, man. I've been following them for years. They're really a quality local band.
Absolutely.
Rick, as we come to the top of the hour, which is when we usually have to say our goodbyes and start our close, good question for you now would be: is there anything left, Rick, that Rick Randall hasn't done, and you feel like you still got something to accomplish?
Well, I've often wondered if I could take the radio idea and extend it to video and put a good video music channel. There's an awful lot of video product by local artists out there now.
So a local version of MTV. I'd like to volunteer to be your first VJ, as it were. I'm a little old. I get it.
I like to volunteer my material.
There you go. You got your 3 licks. You got them right here.
I got a few of them out there.
Let's start it out right now. Let's put it
like
out
to
there in
do
the
that.
ether.
You would like to do that, and by saying you'd like to do that, what does that means?
How can we make that happen for you?
You have a studio and a business that does that.
I'd have to build a library of music videos and use the same type of software I'm using for audio.
Oh, I see. So you're talking
Yeah,
about
like an MTV.
yeah,
but for
offering-
local artists.
I see. Offering it as a access to someone to watch and listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
instead of just listening.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anybody with deep pockets out there wants to start up something, we could get
Deep
that going.
pockets and long arms, because we know people with deep pockets, but their arms never get to the bottom of those pockets. So deepest arms and deepest pockets and shortest arms.
So there you are, Mr. Deep Pockets, Mrs. Deep Pockets, Miss Deep Pockets.
It has been
any deep pockets.
It has been the joy of our time here at WMNF, and we're still. I don't want to say we're in our rookie season, Rick, but we haven't been in the league that long. I'm using a sports analogy. Joe and I are just kind of warming these seats now. We're just finding our legs, but this has been certainly a high watermark for us. We don't take this. Listen, we don't take this. We understand who's sitting with us here in studio, and if you'd like to say hello real quick, you've just got a couple of minutes left, but we'll give you an opportunity. 813-239-9663. Let's go ahead and talk real quick to Mark, who's calling us from Bradenton, and he has something to say about Have Gun. Mark, you're on the air with Rick Randall.
Hey, Rick, just want to let you know I live now in Bradenton, have been here over 40 years, and Bradenton, it's Bradenton. To know it is to love it. But one of the best things to ever come out of Bradenton is Have Gun Will Travel. I've met the Burke brothers and the other members of the band several times. Tremendous guys. Their songwriting, and I think they're underappreciated. I'm amazed at how many people that I talk to in the music community that don't know who they are. And anyway, I support them and love everything they do, and it's one of the points of pride of Bradenton.
Absolutely.
Well said. Look, you get a bell ring for that, Mark.
Good
And listen,
comment, Mark.
And if you can figure out a way to help us get those boys or a couple of them on the radio with us, we'd love to keep singing their praises. So maybe you can
That's
reach
a great idea.
Send
That's a
us
great
an
idea.
email, DJ at
Maybe prior to their
next event.
performance. Yeah.
DJ at WMNF.org. Is that right? Yeah, DJ at WMNF.org. And we'd love to talk to the fellas from Have Gun. Mark, thanks so much for your call, man. Thanks for listening.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Enjoying the show, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mark.
And see, they sometimes when we get guests like yourself, we don't get a lot of callers because everybody's just listening and they don't want to break
they're
the flow
absorbed.
of the vibe. No, seriously.
No, it's serious.
And so we don't get a lot. So don't feel like they're not listening, because obviously Mark was moved to call because he's very inspired by Have Gun.
Yeah.
And we want to be inspired by them too. So please, Mark, follow through and give us that, send us that email. Anything in closing as we get to the close,
Well,
Rick?
there's a theory in radio. We're not talking to an audience. We're talking to a person. One person. And Mark, you're that guy today.
Pretty special.
Wow,
Pretty
I
special.
like that a lot. That's a great metaphor. And true. It's very true, right? I mean, really, every person who's listening to the radio, for them, it's a
one-on-one.
It's a one-on-one experience.
That's why one of the key things we're supposed to say, Joey, and we have to be cognizant of it, is when you're saying into the microphone, "Hi, everybody. Good morning, everybody." It's not everybody, baby. It's
Right.
Good morning. How are you?
That's right.
Because that's the only person that matters right there, the person you're speaking to at that moment. What a great time we've had
Yeah.
today. Mike Baluha, anything in closing? I mean, come on, baby. This is your
It's
chance.
been a pleasure being a part of the show. I told you it was going to be a historic show. I knew what we were dealing.
I'd like to do another one if we can get Rick
dealing with on this,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
And I want to say too that I don't want to belabor this. I grew up in Braden. When you do that, you're not really a tempeño, but you feel like
can
you
make
are.
you one, I
You
don't
feel
know.
like you are because Roy Leap was my weatherman.
There you
That's
go.
what I mean.
Oh,
and
sure.
WLCY. Oh, WLCY changed my life.
Yeah,
Mine too.
you and a lot of other people.
Yeah.
too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was an amazing radio station, and it carried all that amazing music that was right at the time when I was forming all of that stuff. And of course, Top 40 back then was really interesting at that period of time. In
Well,
the
it was
60s
vital,
and 70s.
vital.
In radio, I've been a good guy, a boss jock, and at WLCY, we were swinging gentlemen.
Okay, now.
I really like that.
Hey. That's before the Panasonic Quadrophoenic sound came out, right? That was the early
That was a transistor radio.
Yes,
brother.
sir, with the one little piece in your ear.
On the windowsill in the bathroom while I was
yeah.
taking a bath, getting ready for the day.
Oh
you know?
yeah, oh yeah. Every morning started out at breakfast time with that. And my first clock radio, which was the digital clock radios, if you remember, they used to flip over. I think I was about maybe 13 or 14 when I got it, and it's right on the head of my bed. It was like you waited for the click on because it made a loud noise when it clicked on, and it was WLCY.
WLCY.
138.
138.
All right.
So did you work with Ted? Did you get a chance to work with Ted a little bit?
I've known Ted for many years.
We would be remiss.
We never worked at the same station at the same time.
But you were in each other's world, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
Both
Yeah.
of you guys cut a pretty big wake here in the Bay Area.
Well, I was at WFLA for several years, too, and Ted and Jack Harrison, then they all wound up there.
So I would ask you, Rick Randall, for your autograph, but who would Rick Randall ask for their autograph? Anybody you met along the path in your lifetime that you were like, man, this guy is, or this gal is important to me and important in my line of work? I mean, a Walter Cronkite, an Eric Severide. I mean, did you meet anybody that just... A Wolfman Jack?
I don't. That's a good one. I wouldn't mind meeting him sometime.
There you go. There you go. I mean, we all remember the movie, American Graffiti. It must have resonated with you as well.
Sure.
Where were you in '62?
Well, they brought the record into the radio station.
Remember?
And he put it on the radio, and they went crazy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sure.
The one-hit wonders. I mean, you must have had an encounter or two with a couple of one-hit wonders in Great Falls, Montana.
No doubt.
How were those winners, by the way? How were those winners, by the way? How did a Florida boy survive in Great Falls, Montana?
Well, on radio,
You're just inside, yeah. You're not outside doing live reports from
right.
from the plains.
Yeah.
You're just a voice.
He's just a voice.
Quite a voice.
Yeah.
Joey? It's been good today.
I'm an
huh?
admirer, I'm an admirer.
This is some pretty good
I love
stuff.
radio, and I love...
And we know you traveled a bit, a fur piece, as they say in the TV trivia, a fur piece to get here today. And we're grateful because, it's traffic and so forth. But Rick, will you come back maybe after you've recovered from this experience?
I'll have
Can we
to
do a
think-
follow-on show?
Think about that sometime.
maybe when your video service is up and running.
There you go.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And you can
I
call
think-
our show in any time. You know the number. I'll give it to you right now. It's 813-239-9663. So when we do our show in 2 weeks, that's going to be all about music. It's a national day of recognition. All radio stations, community radio stations, and otherwise are going to be playing music, Joe. And how special is that going to be?
That's excellent.
So the conversation on that day, hopefully we'll have somebody here historic that was in the music industry. Rodney Justo comes to mind, Rodney, if you're listening. But maybe we can get somebody else.
Who knows?
And whoever's available. And we're going to be spinning our records that day. Maybe there's a guy named Mike Balua. He's got a lot of music that he's famous for, too. We can bring him in again.
It can all be so.
I don't know. I'm going to have to
Absolutely.
start charging Mike. He's spending more time in this studio than we are.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it out loud.
And here with one of the swinging gentlemen, by the way.
Hey.
I like that.
Okay, so that's going to be the name of the club. Swingin' Gentlemen Club. Satin jackets, reversible, blue and red. Come on. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We're not out of here yet.
Yeah.
What else you got? Want to tell them who's going to be with us next week?
Who is going to be with
I
us
don't know.
next week?
I'm thinking out loud to myself.
Well, let me do this while I'm here.
Okay.
While you're getting my
Okay.
attention, is I would like to thank today Jessica, the OG, had to step away. And
She did.
And Joe Remo is in, the magnificent Joe Remo.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you,
There
Joe.
he is.
There he
Hey,
is.
Joey, thank you for
Spoke.
taking our one caller, Mark from Bradenton.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Who's coming up next?
Coming up next is it's the Music Wednesday with Sam. She's over there,
And I'm sure
Wham
she's
bam.
going to. I'm sure she's going to thank her donors as well.
And she's
because
going to thank her donors, and you're up for an incredible show this afternoon, folks, because Sam is such a good programmer.
and she's got a great radio voice as well.
Yes.
So thank you again, one and all, for donating last week to this particular show. We are so appreciative. We get to play again for another season. Thank you, Rick Randall.
Thank you, Rick Randall and Rick Crandall, both of you.
Thank you,
for-
Mike Baluha, for coming
Thank
in
you
today.
for being here.
Thank you.
I'm Mario Nunez, alongside my broadcast partner, Joe King Carter. You are listening to WMNF Tampa.
This is The Scoop for Wednesday.